this whole attack on toxic masculinity and things like that, I look at what a lot of things have been coming out lately in the movies and television, where they constantly just make men kind of wimps, and they're making you women the superstars and superheroes, and I'm fine with that. But the whole attack, to me, it goes back to even sitcoms. You look at sitcoms over the last 30 years, the husband's always kind of fat and dumpy, the mom's kind of hot, and then they got the teenage kids, and all they do is belittle a father. It's this whole attack on father, this whole attack on a man being a man. And Walt Disney said back in the 50s, movies and television will influence our youth. Well, he was certainly right, and they can influence positively or negative.
Actor Kevin Sorbo is looking for some real men to satisfy his needs. Men that don't put up with anyone that's not exactly like them. Sorbo is yearning for men of the past that new Hollywood hasn't tainted with portrayals of them as fat and stupid. You know, movies of real men like Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis in Some Like It Hot.
Not since the Marx Brothers, so much comedy. Not since the 7-Year Itch, so much Maryland. The best picture this year will also be the funniest.
Good night, sugar. You stay here as long as you like.
That cross-dressing movie featuring drag queens from 1959 apparently isn't a big deal because the men were only wearing dresses and makeup to get closer to the woman that they wanted to hook up with. You know, the manly move of deception in order to get in her pants. Something we all should be teaching our boys. There are many examples from the golden era that Sorbo longs for that completely dispel the simplistic point that men are only what he thinks they are. It's blanket statements like these that really show how small some people's reality is. If it doesn't fit inside their very narrow worldview, it's evil, and everyone must conform to my insular point of view. Luckily, though, Sorbo remembered speaking to a real man that highlighted this problem. And pay attention to the end here, where he mentions this manly problem that he's complaining about is actually about race.
Peter Weir, a director from Australia, this is about 15 years ago, maybe even longer. I got asked to comment on a documentary that he shot where he said there are no real men left in America. And I went, wow. And he started pointing out all these things because the Australian men are these tough men, you know, down under. And I had something to say about that, but there is a lot of truth to what he said. I mean, we have been constantly telling men that, you know, the white privilege, male white privilege and all this stuff.
You know, because Australia produces manly men, where everyone wears cargo shorts and brown button-ups while wrestling alligators and fighting kangaroos. Sorbo let it be known that he's actually frustrated that different portrayals challenge the power structure that has always benefited white men in this country. He doesn't realize that opposition to toxic masculinity covers men of all races and backgrounds because apparently he believes that only white men are being called out. It's easy to miss obvious nuance like this when you outright dismiss the point of view from people that you automatically think are inferior to you. So this discussion was actually about his beef with the perceived loss of white male dominance in society.
And I'm finding that's true with a lot of things, with these phrases that a lot of younger people under the age of 35 are throwing out, you're racist, you're homophobic, you're transphobic, all these things. And you ask them about it, to sit there and explain, give us your examples of that, and they can't come up with it. And to me, it's just that they've been trained to say these phrases just as an attack mode and to appear like they know what they're talking about. And it's I don't know, the hypocrisy is so gone crazy right now. And this constant thing with what talking about with manhood is this divide we're trying to keep doing, and we're doing it successfully, unfortunately.